Dear students and colleagues, welcome to the fifth edition of the Innovation Talks of the LUMSA University in Rome. Innovation Talks is an important initiative of our university. It's a cycle of webinars aimed to discuss innovation, technology, sustainability, and the future of business in society with experts and opinion leaders in the business community. Innovation Talks are particularly organized by the Department of Law, Economic, Politics, and Modern Languages of LUMSA and the Master's Degree in Management and Finance in partnership with the Association of Alumni LUMSA. I'm Filippo Giordano, and I'm the president of the Master's Degree in Management and Finance and Professor of Management at LUMSA University. This edition of Innovation Talks is focused on the relation between humans and technologies, how technologies are changing our relations, what is the impact on our life, and what are the ethical implications. So I'm pleased to introduce the chair and the scientific coordinator of these webinars, Leonardo De Cosmo. Hi, Leonardo.
Hi, Filippo.
Leonardo is a journalist, expert of technology, and I'm very proud to have him in our faculty because he's our teacher of digital transformation. So thank you, Leonardo, for your work and your efforts. And I leave the floor to you to introduce the topic of today and our important guest speaker. Thank you, Leonardo.
Thank you, Filippo. Thank you to all. I'm very happy to kick off this cycle of meetings, the LUMSA Innovation Talks, which, as you told us, is part of Digital Transformation Lab course program. Right now, I'm in the classroom with some students. Some are online. These cycle of meetings are 4 lectures that are planned like moments of inspiration and reflection to analyze the transformations that are taking place in society due to digital technologies. Today, we will explore immersive technologies. Next Friday at 3 p.m., not at 5, we will talk about ethics in artificial intelligence with Maurizio Mori from the University of Torino and chair of SIPEIA, Society in Ethics in Artificial Intelligence. If someone has some question, can type on YouTube chat. As I told you, today we will start with a guest. They had a pleasure to meet some years ago by writing an article about the future evolution of IoT. Leonardo Agrò, who now is living and working in California, many years there, is a director of growth and exponential technologies at the NTT Disruption in San Francisco. I don't want to read his bio because it's too long. In very short, in few words, he's an IoT pioneer. And former executive digital director of design group Italia. Leandro, for me, is a visionary man. He's able to tell what words that do not yet exist still. For me, is like a witness of the future that I will see in the next few years. Today, we talk about immersive technology. That could be the next big thing, maybe. Here is Leandro. Can you hear me? Okay.
Absolutely. Good morning from San Francisco.
So, Leandro, I leave you the screen with... So Leandro Agrò, sorry, I'm Leonardo. You are Leandro. For me, is.
Did you want us to switch the name or I don't
yeah,
know?
But anyway, it's
be more
different.
aligned in it?
I leave you the screen with augmented futures. Thank you, Leandro.
Okay. So thank you for having me. Thank you for the kind introduction. The video is not too long. Let's make sure the fact that I still in Italian. I was working in Milan all my professional career. I'm late comer here in California. I read in California that it was almost 50. So this is very unusual. So typically people here live their Silicon Valley experience in a completely different moment in life. So this is like more a gift to myself and to my daughter rather than just the classic, let's say, professional path that brings innovators to California. So I would like to have my slide on screen, and I would like to tell you a couple of stories that, yes, are about augmented future in general. But let's start, let's say, from the beginning. So thank you for having me, and welcome to this chat. My name again is Leandro Agrò, and all my, let's say, professional path was about design. Unfortunately, I wasn't good enough to do like furniture design, to live in Milan, the classic professional life, and so I was focusing on technology since the beginning. So I published my first commercial website in '95. Maybe some of you were not born. And I was studying interaction design. That was slightly a very strange topic in '97. And following that, let's say, the different steps of this professional career, I focused more on the hardware part rather than the software for a long time. So eye tracking technologies, IoT, industrial IoT, most recently in the last 5 years, some robotics and spatial computing. That is actually the label that is directly, let's say, emerging from this augmented realities that we are living right now. All this path brought me to what we call exponential technology, and exponential technology is actually the very core of my role in this company here in San Francisco that is called entity disruption. The story that I would like to share with you today is divided in 3 parts. The first 2 parts are actually pretty short. The third one is probably the most interesting one. And the first part of the story, it starts with a very classic question that anybody typically does to me. So what is going on in Silicon Valley? And just reading the newspaper, well, and in general, being informed about what is going on in this moment, nobody could be surprised by the fact that the next big thing, it looks to be the metaverse, with Facebook switching the name from Facebook to Meta. And let's say it is not a surprise. So everybody knows here in Silicon Valley that people, both in software and hardware, are working to something different, to this kind of sort of augmented and virtual reality, new scenarios that will bring whole humanity together in a very fabulous digital places. And so it's not a surprise for nobody here. But let's say until a couple of weeks ago, to the question, what is going on in Silicon Valley? If my answer was related to augmented virtual reality, half of the people will not believe it. Now it's a fact. Now Zuckerberg just announced that they will invest $10 billion by year for 10 years, hiring 10,000 people in Europe. So this is also a work opportunity for some of us. Of course, there are many reasons to be also worried by the fact that this new metaverse will be brought to us by Facebook. That is, of course, an holding that is owning Facebook, WhatsApp, Instagram, many other things. So like all the socials, more or less. And Mark Zuckerberg is not alone in this challenge because, of course, Microsoft will be part, and many other actors, but I would like to underline Microsoft will be part of this kind of, let's say, quest for the future. Satya Nadella just announced that they will be whole in the metaverse. And this is not something new. Microsoft was investing in Minecraft many years ago, and they have Outspace VR. That is another super nice technology. They have mesh technology that could be useful for that. So they have absolutely a piece of the future in the hands. And this is also scary to me, as well as Facebook, because they promise that we will have Teams and PowerPoint in Metaverse. Be careful. So this is the new gold rush, and shovel sellers will be the one that for sure will be richer at the end of this race, whatever is the result. So I suggest you to pay attention both on the hardware and software side of this gold rush. On the hardware side, for sure, NVIDIA and other players that are working on GPU are super, super interesting, but probably it's easy to tell what is going on the software side. The video games engine are becoming incredibly, dramatically relevant for all people life. And maybe who is not a gamer or doesn't feel how big are those companies, what is their power in terms of innovation, which influence they could have on our future. But be sure, video games industry is the largest digital industry after just probably the few giants that we know, like Facebook, Google, Amazon. And for example, 2 days ago, Unity, that is one of the two, let's say, main competitors in game engine, bought Weta. Weta is something that probably doesn't mean anything to some of you, but if you know Avatar, the movie, if you know Lord of the Rings, the movie, Weta is the special effects factory that make possible to realize those kind of movies. And so Unity bought Weta, and the transaction was $1.6 billion. So when a game engine is able to buy another company, say like probably the best company in this field, for more than $1.6 billion, you get also the dimension of the buyer. So Unity, Unreal, those are serious players. When you have the question, what is going on in Silicon Valley, you should pay attention to all this scenario. And of course, if we talk about hardware, there are tons of different glasses that are coming to our desk, to our office, to our home. And regardless how many options we will have, we all are waiting for the AR glasses from Apple. Everybody knows here that this will be a game changer, pricey game changer. And well, there are, let's say, serious options that this is becoming the next big thing. Second part of the story, it is all about, let's say, white mothers. So why we are talking about it, why it's relevant? In my opinion, it's relevant because Silicon Valley want to evolve the way in which we look at the world. So they could become a sort of layer in between your feeling, your vision, and the reality that you are looking at. I feel this is relevant. Which kind of reality? Well, first of all, we can have different, let's say, solution in terms of technology. We can have situation in which you are completely immersed, like virtual reality, and probably this means that you are wearing some kind of, let's say, headset. Or you can have different situation in which digital content are blended with your reality, what you are looking through your lenses. And this could be both mixed or augmented reality. What is important to underline is this like radical shift in computer that are passing from a situation in which everything was understood and simulated and processed and visualized in 2D, like in a desktop, to something else that is coming that is completely 3D. And this is something that works for many, many different kind of devices. So from the driverless car, so whatever is kind of autonomous drive, also for a small robot around home, to the ability to simulate the environment and put those environment in front of your eyes through some kind of glasses. Those two things looks very different, but the enabler are exactly the same. And when I talk about robots that are autonomous enough to walk around, well, what comes in my mind is this image. This was shot a couple of days ago in our office here. The one in the background are social robots. They don't walk around. The project there is Jibo. They are companion. They talk with you, are a sort of super smart virtual assistant. And the one on legs is like a dog. This is the US robotics Spot. It's like a yellow dog. And what it's doing there, you see the antennas on top, is autonomously searching for the better spot to be connected to the internet. So if you want to know, for example, where the Wi-Fi network works better, just follow the yellow dog. That is like then you follow the white rabbit. Of course, humans are exploring computer worlds, and this could be done in many different ways. I would like just to grab your attention on what I feel is the most important detail. So whatever you see through the glasses, it is something that you are seeing with your own eye. So it could be credible, but the fact that you have like a filter in between could change everything. I love this book. The author is the guy in the picture, David Rose, because he is thinking about the potential of augmented and virtual reality, I feel, in the correct ways. A sort of superpower, super sight that allow you, for example, to see things that are so big that your eye cannot cover, or things that are so tiny that you cannot see it without some kind of help, or things that are actually happening in a different moment in time, like watching a scene on an ancient Greek temple and see the life at the time, or much forward in the time, or just let's say hacking the speed of the time itself. So augmented and virtual reality with this view, like a superpower for your eye, it is something that I feel it is fantastic. Unfortunately, we should consider that things could go in a different way. We know that, let's say, the giants that are leading the technology in this moment are people like Facebook and Google. Well, they have profile of us. So each Facebook page, each Google output of any search that you see is different according to who you are. Profiling means this. So if I search certain things on the internet, I see different things in respect, for example, Leonardo. And that means that there is some kind of personal reality or altered reality that is crafted by this company according to who we are. And we know that we are changing, let's say, the way in which, for example, we look like on social, on metaverse, on video games, according the situation. So it's Halloween, so I could wear like a mask. It's I'm a sport fan, so I could change my face and be, I don't know, a fan of the team that you like and prefer. But this could be something that could be applied also to politics. So I can go to a rally, you pick the kind of politician that you prefer, and all the faces that you see are representing, for example, the color of this political party. So welcome to your personal altered metaverse. That is just the next stage in profiling. So we can do incredible stuff with this kind of technology. And just to be clear, my eyes are not green. And of course, I'm not a cartoon or, well, we can do whatever. This is just real time. So I can show you whatever I like. In the same, it worked for you. Your own reality is something that you can project also to the other people. So this is something that we should care with particularly attention. Third part of the story. There is not just one future. There are many potential futures available to us. And some of those futures are desirable. Some other future could be dystopian. So we have a role on that. And the future is not written. So what I mean, you saw a lot of technology and you might pretend that those companies will decide everything for you. It is not true. It's not how things works. This is Google Glasses, was introduced, I don't know, 10 years ago, more or less, by Google, pretending to change everything in mobile computing through this augmented reality. Wasn't an augmented reality, so it was something different. Technology, it was like a sort of picture-in-picture in your right lenses of the glasses, and doesn't work it. And it doesn't work it not because the technology, well, was primitive, but doesn't work because people do not accept it. So there is this idea of cultural acceptability that define it. That was just too early for this kind of technology. So future is not given, is not already written. There is no giant company that will decide this for you, and you can in some way, let's say, influence the direction of the future, trying to target maybe desirable future instead any kind of dystopian things. How you do it? Of course, as a consumer, through your consumption, and which is the direction that we are in this moment following. Just look at the video games. Just look at how many people are paying attention to digital entertainment. So 2.7 billion gamers in the world are investing at least 1 hour by day on this kind of environment. So in a certain way, the metaverse is already there. It's just different than what people may expect. So 13 millions of people that were attending a concert in a virtual world. It is a thing. So it's the largest concert never run on Earth. And of course, we are not the only one that could shift the direction of the future from dystopian scenarios to any other kind of future, because there are other things outside. The black swan, the COVID-19, the pandemic changed everything. We went through a situation in which our, let's say, technology advancement was pretty, let's say, let me say traditional. It's just step by step from Web 1 to social network, social media, mobile, IoT. This path was already there. In a certain moment, it happened this accident, that is, let's say, the pandemic, and we changed our habits. We spent tons of hours just in front of your computer, connected on Zoom. Nothing changed, I feel. And what I noticed is that this kind of pressure on us forced us to search for other alternatives, to look around ourselves and see what else we can do. For example, we had the chance to I don't know, trying to get the most from devices that we already got. For example, for Christmas, someone gifted me the Oculus Quest 2. I was playing with that for a couple of weeks, and later I just forgot the device because at that time wasn't interesting enough. Or I have a LiDAR on my phone that is this kind of sensor that could scan in 3D the real world and try to replicate in, let's say, like the digital shape of objects. And this is useful in many situations, but at the beginning it wasn't clear to me what I can do with that, and it was so immersed in like the daily life that I wasn't paying attention to those potential. The pandemic, the fact to be forced on Zoom most of the time, let's say, uncovered the desire to be an explorer, to change the things, to see what else is already available to us in terms of technology. And for example, we discovered that we can do a lot of things already. We can go in a virtual world, create objects, manipulate those objects. We can create entire scenarios and create, I don't know, conference hall and collaborate in those places in a browser with open source software like Mozilla Hub. So we can do already many things. You can create, let's say, a visual sculpture in 3D and just leave it on a physical space, and those sculpture will be there forever, or at least until the viewer is an application on mobile is supported. We have spatial audios in the headphones. For example, the last model of headphones, very pricey, that Apple brought to the market. Or with a LiDAR, you can scan object or people and replicate it in the real world. I don't know, cloning your daughter might be an option, but we can do many different things with this digital cloning of real life object. There are many scenarios. I don't want to go through all those things, but the idea is all those scenarios that we felt as available futures were not on our agenda initially. The pandemic was probably the external force that brutally convinced us to pay attention to the alternative scenario, alternative technology that were already available to us. And while spending a lot of time on Zoom, I was focusing not only on the topic of the meeting, of the goal of the meeting, but I was paying attention to what the people were placing behind them, which kind of images, which kind of additional user interface and storytelling they were trying to bring to the conversation. And all of us have some kind of universe in which we belong, and digital technology are becoming the way in which we share the universe in which we belong to the other people that are digitally connected with us. And this is not something new. Actually, this is something that was there since a very long time. I love the project, the one that you see in the larger image, that was done by a designer like at least 10 years ago, in which, let's say, anybody could bring with himself, in this case, like a sort of digital aura. You see this kind of images that is blended with the reality that you see. And it's like to see a person, but together with, again, with his own universe, the book he preferred, the music he liked, the kind of things that are important in this case to this guy. So this extended you, it is something that you can carry together with you all the time. And this extended universe could be, again, blended with the reality and be felt by the people that you met or the people that you like that they see it through some kind of lenses. So looking at the background in Zoom during the classic video conference, I saw like the seed of a change that will allow us to bring with us the universe that we like. And this is actually something that gamers are already doing. This is a very big and stable business that is creating $1 billion by year for people that are in the game industry. So this is nothing new. This is something that is already available to us. Maybe some of you could be, let's say, inside the game enough to understand that the critical problem is not to customize your own, let's say, avatar or your own character, but what is critical is to have the ability to bring your character with you, crossing all the different metaverse and video games that you might like to play. So, and this is kind of example in which the technology allow you to have some kind of reference character and use it through all different kind of environment, including the reality that is the bottom right corner. So we are very close to, let's say, the core of the story that I want to tell you. And I would like to push you, all of you, to think that you might influence the direction of the future, and you might, in some way, through your consumption, ideas, and project, make something that change the things for the better. We have options. We have options all the days in front of us. We might, for example, think that after the pandemic, that is something that we're still working in, everything will be back to the normality. So it is the top right images, just side-by-side collaboration, in-person relation, nothing else. Or you might think that starting from tomorrow, everything will go on metaverse and we will live inside this kind of digital cage. Or we may learn from something that happened during the pandemic. You see that the smaller image here in the slide, those are physicians. They belong to the Mount Sinai Hospital here in the United States. And in the moment in which the pandemic was let's say, the worst of the worst, and physicians were like very close to physical and mental collapse, they decided to create rooms in which, because the fabric, because the smells, because projections and music, they have the opportunity to relax and to, let's say, recharge between the different moment of service that they provided to the hospital. So the situation outside this room was almost desperate. And this was the only refugee that they had to recharge themselves and be ready to serve again. And this is a sort of metaverse too. It's multisensual, it's spatial. You see the others, You don't wear any kind of glasses. You can touch the other person there. You can talk with this other person in reality, while other contents are coming to you through digital layers. And that's exactly the point of my story today. Let me show you something that probably you didn't expect. This is, we don't care the audio for this movie, but let's say this is the longest and largest immersive experience that you can have. This is an hotel brought to us by Disney. This hotel is like the Star Wars Galactic Hotel. And what matters is that whatever you see through the windows and all the people that you met are part of the story. So this is a sort of giant relaxing room like the one that I show you to the hospital, created for entertainment. And you know, now we might pretend to have a sort of idea in which the future is coming to us in different shapes. We have, let's say, devices like the phone that bring to us augmented reality, LiDAR, those kind of things. And well, this is the most common, let's say, door to potential new metaverse. We have the most cheaper device that is virtual reality like the Oculus. We have the most promising that are the new glasses, whatever is the player that will brought to us. And later we have this incredible immersive experience where you can live for days. Maybe there is something in between. For example, the Mount Sinai experience was something in between. Do not pretend to be a place where you spend 2 days, but it is immersive enough. So we were deeply inspired by this idea, and we thought, what if we create a room that is multisensual, like the Mount Sinai thing? It's just a room, but very enhanced by technology. And we created this thing. You see the glasses wall? Those allow us to project on those walls, but also to make the wall sensible to touch. And you see through those glass wall, you see a sort of cylinder inside. So if you project correctly content inside, you can create whatever kind of world you want to be immersed in. I will show you another short video. Okay, I feel you got the point. So you can be immersed in this sort of cylinder, and the reality around you could change, and you have motion and body tracking, you have smells, and you have cameras that could bring to you whatever kind of content you like. So you could be immersed in a forest, and you can use furniture, for example, to amplify this idea of immersivity, bringing outside of the wall some kind of other projection. But what is cool here is it is the fact that this is not an exhibition. This is technology that is just the next stage of web technology. So in a click, you can transform the forest in just a larger office in which your colleagues could be present through video communication. And we may leverage, for example, 5G. That is a good technology, not some kind of strange thing, to bring to you in real time people that are connected from elsewhere, blending completely. You see the floor outside offices with your place. And of course, you can transform this kind of environment in whatever you like. From the educational standpoint, the only fact that you can walk inside the story, it's like, I don't know, a singer in a concert that walk through the public. So the speaker, the storyteller, could just walk between the content that he create, and whatever you see, it's not just a one-shot exhibition that is cool but not replicable. It's just web content. Could be your PowerPoint. It's like to think that your PowerPoint could be projected in the wall, and you see in just any moment all the slides together. You can walk through the content instead just to see one concept at the time. And you can walk between artistic content, or you can create, let's say, scenarios to focus on a specific idea. This is our COVID-19 room, and this is another short video that maybe could tell you how powerful could be this kind of things. The whole room was built just in a couple of hours because all the content come from YouTube. So what we are seeing is just a giant web browser. So it's the moment to wrap up. This is the idea that, let's say, any place could become an experiential place. And the difference between like a normal place and an experiential place, it is the same kind of things that you can think when you talk about digital transformation and the impact that digital transformation brings to a company. So you have extended and different, for example, business model that become available to you. You have flexibility in how to use the resources. So digital brings those kind of value to you. What about workplace transformation instead of digital transformation? Is another company asset. The workplace is another company asset, and digital can bring to this asset a lot of value. From the architectural point of view, you can build whatever you like. It could be the Star Trek holodeck, could be a gate to any metaverse, or could be the place that allow you to welcome all the hybrid presences that now are so needed in the workplace. And of course, everything we have seen regarding augmented and virtual reality could be brought to the same space. So what you are seeing right now is on the, let's say, left movie. It's like a virtual reality environment blended with the physical space, exactly how I blended earlier the two offices. And what you see on the right is actually an art exhibition that is available here in San Francisco that is called Virtual Garden. And you have images that are from our technology that is called Cocoon, blended with this other art installation. And those things could be seen through the glasses. So this is another kind of a super, super nice extended reality that you can build in your place. And that's it. This is the whole story that I prepared for you guys today. So the potential of, let's say, immersive world through the metaverse that, let's say, the classic companies from Silicon Valley are preparing for us, in the role that we have in be part of this change. That's all.
Wow, Leandro, thank you so much. And you talked a lot about this new augmented reality, new enrichment of the reality through digital. But what can we say about the real reality? How we change our the value of the real reality? You know, you are Italian, you are European. Every stone in Italy has a history. Okay,
Yeah, exactly.
we see a stone as a with a storytelling inside the stone. Okay, what will happen to the stones now?
It's very nice because I was feeling to be late to talk too much, and so I skipped a couple of slides. One of the slides that I skipped is exactly the answer to your question, because 2 days ago, not like 3 weeks ago, 3 months ago, 2 days ago, in this case was Microsoft. Microsoft brought to the world a sort of augmented reality version of the city of Olympia, so you can actually walk in the real place and see through the augmented reality lenses how it was in the golden age of Olympia. And this is just fantastic because it's not like reading an history book that could be boring or not according to your personality, your interest. This is just walking into the history with a completely different, let's say, perception of what and why this history matters to you. So there are a lot of things that we can do to highlight our cultural heritage, to bring value to our physical places. This is something that is super important to me. And one of the reasons why we built this technology that is called Cocoon. The idea is if you have an asset that is architecture, could be an office, could be a museum, could be whatever, you can bring this digital layer on top of this asset. And the most important thing is to switch from, let's say, the old mentality that is unfortunately most of the time used. So I create a sort of exhibition, a content that do not change in the future just because it's just the digital representation that expand your physicality. We are not talking about it. We are talking about bringing the power of unfinished content available on the internet to the place. So every day, every moment that passing time, the content that is around the place, it is already changed. And probably the fact that you visited the place already influenced the story that the place is telling. And that is fantastic. This is, again, the evolution of web to social media, to mobile media, to IoT, to spatial computing. It's not just another kind of exhibition on top, static exhibition, digital static exhibition on top of the place.
Last question, just about regulation. We are European. We need laws. We need. What do you think about it? We will have regulation government. How will manage all this world? The European government. Okay.
I am a design guy, not a lawyer, and I don't know what is right from the ethical point of view. I could have just my feelings. My feeling is that we still in this sort of technology kasbah, so we don't know what is right or what is wrong. We suppose that Facebook was something that brings humanity together with a sort of golden arc theory. The golden arc theory is the one that say that there was never a war between two countries in which McDonald's was available. So this is the golden arc theory. So if you bring people together, maybe they will not fight. And this was our desire at the beginning of social media. And well, you know how it went. So it's very difficult to understand which technologies will bring to us progress and which technology could find some pitfall during the way. So it's everything to be defined. For sure, I feel that we need to experiment with technology. And for sure, I feel that we should not have some kind of addiction to technology. So when I see people that stay all the time with a phone that become the frame of their reality, this is something that worries me. This is something that I feel is scaring. And if you remove the frame of the phone and use glasses, this could be potentially worse because you can see the world that you like. Again, I can go to Trump rally with this hat and the hat become red for all people that are looking to me and not a Trumpanian guy, that's for sure. So the reality seen through your eyes could change completely what you believe is true. So we need to experiment. We need to preserve ourselves from addictions.
Thank you, Leandro. And now we have with us also Claudio Giannotti, the director of the course.
Welcome back.
Hi, Leandro. Thanks a lot. It's really, really interesting. I appreciate so much your talk. And so I am Claudio Giannotti, the director of the department in LUMSA University. And it seems to me that in this future, you are changing the dimension of time and space. Okay? So my basic point is if we can see the risk to get lost in this new dimension, and if you can give us some tip to get by in this new world from the consumer point of view and from also the enterprise point of view. So both sides. In any case, very interesting. Thanks.
Thank you for the easy question. Okay, this is the answer is 42, because you are asking something that is very close to the meaning of life, the universe, and everything else. So I have this very short story for you. When I was living in Milan, I was living in a classic building in the city, so different apartment, all stories. And at a certain point, I noticed that each of the person that was living in that building actually had a different life. The person that was just living in the apartment in front of mine, he was working in a company for Saudi, and his world was in a different time zone respect me, and his cultural reference is it was different from me. And he was a guy from Milan. I am a guy from Sicily, but we were living exactly side by side. And what about my world? My world was, I don't know, on Netflix US since the very early days, or talking with friends in Silicon Valley. And when we met physically door to door, actually it's our like two different worlds that are colliding. So what I mean, we have the chance in the near future to live in the kind of world that we desire. For example, here in America, you can be an Italian American, you can be an Iranian American, you can be, I don't know, French American, whatever you like. And those things are blended together, and you are allowed to be yourself with your complexity. And I feel that in the future, what is available to us, it is like to live our personal universe. And the risk is that to believe that your personal universe, it is an objective reality. This is where we need training, both on the company and personal side. Being aware that the universe that you craft around you is just your point of view. And like the star in the sky, there are hundreds of millions of stars in the sky. And so you should take care then when you met another person, you are meeting with another universe. On the company side, this means that diversity, it is the single more important ingredients for innovation. The single more important, nothing else matters at the same level of diversity, because you need to bring together all those different universes through the doors that are represented by the diversity that the company is able to embrace. If your company is not able to embrace this diversity, I don't feel that it's able to embrace and serve all those different universes in a situation in which the diversity of each of the single universe, it is like skyrocketing. So company side, this is the advice. Personal side, it was like, be careful, consider that each time that you met a person, you are meeting another whole entire universe.
So it seems to me that it's up to us. That's the point.
Yeah? Well, there is a very nice guy that is called Kevin Kelly that lives here in Silicon Valley. Is one of the founder of Wired magazine, and probably one of the sharpest minds that you can find around. And last time that I met him, it was because he presented a book in a small bookstore here in Menlo Park. And I asked him to sign the book, and he wrote, "Star Trek is inevitable." What means that Star Trek is inevitable? First of all, it's a good news, because the alternative is Star Wars. And there is war in Star Wars. Star Trek, it looks already much better. But the point is that in order to live in the Star Trek universe, we should be much better person, human being, terrestrial, Vulcan people, whatever. But we should be better people. So we should care about ourselves and what we believe, let's say, very carefully. Just last sentence in that. A couple of days ago in United States, in Dallas, more than 1,000 people, let's say, collectively decided to go during the street in which JFK was killed. And they went there because they believed that the son of JFK, that is died, was in some way coming back to Earth in order to be part of the next Trump election as vice president. Thousands of people went physically in a place believing that that person could be there to run as vice president. And I'm shocked, but let's say this is much, let's say, I don't want to say worse, but different than any expectation about virtual and augmented reality, risk of metaverse that I can believe. This is real reality. It is alternative and altered enough.
Okay, good. Thanks a lot indeed. Thanks a lot. So I can leave the floor to Leonardo, please, if you can join us so we can...
Here we are. Leandro, I want to ask you a lot of questions, but I cannot. But there is one question from YouTube, from Andrea. She asked you, you are talking about the need to take care of a version of the future that we may have. Many recommendations to, do you have any recommendation to avoid ending in a nightmare as a science fiction film?
As I said, we should decide in which future we choose to belong. And maybe this future could be good for you and not be objective. So not the future that all the other people will decide to follow. But the fact that you are already have the right consumption, this is the very beginning of everything, and you believe in let's say right ideas. I mean, just for example, to me it's important to believe in science, or to me it's important in this moment of pandemic to trust science that probably is not perfect, but at least they try to create the best potential protection we can afford as humanity. And I believe in data. And so, well, you must create your own universe, protect it, and try to spread ideas for good. And this is, I feel, the most important thing. So right consumption, sustainable maybe, and spread for good. And this is something that works also for companies. You know, I don't feel that any future needs our next product, because there are so many features available that whatever you do is like a niche. What the world maybe need is our values and the kind of future that we might promise. I could mention, for example, yes, let me mention the name. I drive a Tesla, and not because it's cool, not because it's fast, and neither because it's green. And you know, Tesla in this moment, let's say the financial value, at least the economic value, is better than most of the other, let's say, car manufacturer combined. That's just crazy. Why so many people in this area are buying a Tesla? We have more Teslas in Silicon Valley than Fiat Panda in Turin. Why? Because people feel that it's possible to be part of a positive future. What they are selling on top of the car is this idea of future. You are a one-click distance driving your Tesla from SpaceX, one click from Mars. It's like all the storytelling. And I feel that next year, many other car manufacturers will have better car than Tesla. There is no point in that. Nobody needs your product. This is just an opinion, but this is what I felt.
Okay. Thank you, Leandro. It was an honor to me to have you to open this cycle of 4 lessons. So thank you. I leave the last words to Claudio Gianotti. Thank you.
Grazie. Thanks a lot, Leonardo. Thanks, Professor De Cosmo, for having organized this really brilliant talk. And I think we have to talk about that a bit more. So, but you show us a future that, where we are in charge of building up this new future. So we have a part of this new future. And it's very interesting for us and for students, to have understood which are the new steps that we have to look at. So and to be part of the future and not just to see the future.
Yeah. This is actually fundamental. We were consumer, later we become prosumer. Now we are storytellers, maker, protagonists. Everyone on Earth will be so busy in creating his own universe that you will have barely time for all the rest.
Okay, I appreciate a lot what you mentioned, that innovation has to create value. The point is value. That's very important. So, Leandro, thanks a lot for being with us. Thanks a lot, really, and see you soon, and enjoy your future. Ok. Bye, arrivederci a tutti. Bye bye.